Welcome to another episode of Legal for Tech, the podcast. So, guys, now you do recognize my voice. It's always Rosie here. And as I've said many times, this is just a group of students and young professionals who are very interested in anything that has to do with technology. And yes, it's regulation. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Giacomo. Hi, Giacomo, how are you?
Hello, Rosie. Let's say that this many times are more or less now 60 times. So, but let's go ahead.
The old. Anyways, um, today we are breaking the news. I'm really excited because we are joined here on the podcast 60 times after by Els Bruggeman. Hello, Els.
Hi, hello. For me, it's my first time, so bear with me.
There will be more. There will be more. That said, Els, I need you to tell our listeners why you're here, and that's a big philosophical question, I know. But
Mhm.
most importantly, what kind of life journey brought you to this position and to breaking the news with us?
Well, I'm Els Bruggeman. I'm head policy enforcement and communication at Euroconsumers. And for those who don't know Euroconsumers yet, we are a leading global group of 5 national consumer organizations. So in Italy, Belgium, Spain, Portugal, and Brazil, all membership based. So in total, we represent more than 6 million people, and we try to reach many more. I joined the consumer movement a bit more than 10 years ago first of all, as a European public affairs advisor, and I grew into the Euroconsumers group, where I now take care of all policy-related issues globally and European-wide. I take care of the branding, of the communication, and together with my colleague, we take care also of some class actions and legal actions. I joined the consumer movement, about 10 years ago. Before, I worked in politics, behind the scenes, not in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, amongst things, as a spokesperson, but also as a legal advisor, even a sustainability advisor. And my very last job was for the Vice Prime Minister of Belgium, who was also the Minister for Consumer Protection. And this closes the loop a little bit. I studied law, I studied history, I studied international politics and conflict and development studies. And funnily enough, I can use all of them in my current job. And so I'm very happy to be here because yesterday we launched actually an action against Booking.com. As Euroconsumers, we work a lot on, tackling frauds and scams for a very good reason. It is one of the #1 complaints that we are getting. I mentioned we are membership based, so people do reach out saying, I got scammed. And when I say I got scammed, it can be each and every one of us, because according to our surveys, we've learned that 92% of people have encountered a scam just in the last 2 years. So when I say it can happen to each and every one of us, I mean, it almost happened to me as well. So don't be ashamed to share the story. It is very common. And that's why we focus on actually tackling it. And we were getting a lot of complaints about scams related to Booking.com. And this kind of initiated our action against the platform that we announced yesterday.
Let's recap the fact in this case. What happened to the complainants?
Well, we launched the case based on an individual complaint, someone we know who got scammed very recently on the Booking.com website. So basically, he's a very nice guy. He has family in Naples, so he wanted to have a holiday, a family trip in Naples. So he booked on Booking.com a holiday home for a couple of nights. So everything was done. Everything was packed. His 2 children were extremely excited. And then just one day before he needed to check in, he got a message through WhatsApp from the check-in manager, basically saying, look, we couldn't process your card details. Can you reconfirm? He was also very much pushed to, do the verification again via a link. knowing that, you know, he needed to be there in 24 hours. So there was a lot of pressure on him. Either he did it or he would lose the holiday home. And the thing is, it was not only through WhatsApp, because you could think through WhatsApp, you know, it might ring a bell. No, he also got an email on the email address that he used on the booking.com platform to actually, you know, make the booking. He also got the same message in the communication part of the booking platform, so the inbox of the booking platform. And both of these messages were sent with the booking.com email. So, you know, it was very detailed. It was very meticulous. They used the booking.com domain name. They knew his name. They knew his address, all the details, where he was going to stay, for how long. They had personal identifiers. So he really believed, okay, this is the booking.com platform. Turned out that indeed it was a scam. And when he reached out to Booking, say, look, guys, this happened to me, they basically said to me, it's not our fault. We were not compromised. Probably it happened outside the booking.com platform. Maybe some of our hotels got scammed and there was a phishing attempt there. But basically, we have nothing to do with it. Sorry. And that was the answer. And we don't completely agree with that.
But like, wasn't Booking this like platform super cool that you like talk to Booking and then they talk to the hotel? So like, why do they have responsibility on our data if they just pass it to the hotel?
Well, I mean, that's actually the thing, because you make the booking directly on their platform. So it is their responsibility to handle your personal data with care. I mean, the scammers couldn't have done what they did if they didn't have this kind of information coming from the booking.com database. This didn't fall from the sky. I mean, they couldn't have pulled this off unless they had access to those databases. So for us, it shows that the booking.com databases were compromised. There was a compromise of personal data, either coming from the booking.com database or from their integrated partner system, because you can blame it on the hotel, but basically it's one integrated system.
And why is Booking responsible for the claimant data? Or better, sorry, what does the responsibility entail?
Well, there are a couple of provisions that we used, provisions of the GDPR, so the data protection regulation, that we used in our complaints, because based on the case of this person, we filed the complaint with the Dutch Data Protection Authority. Booking.com is based in Amsterdam, so that's why we filed it with the Dutch authority. But basically, GDPR says that when you get data, it must be processed in a secure way. You need to ensure proper security, and it is your responsibility as a controller, being in this case Booking.com, to ensure this. And you know, in our opinion, I mean, they totally failed on this. I mean, the booking system, or the integrated system with the hotels, is completely under the responsibility of Booking.com. It was compromised, and it gave actually the scammers all of the data they need to push the buttons with this consumer, with you know, the user of the Booking.com services. And what's funny enough, I mean, or what is, it's not funny, it's what's striking, is that it's not the first time. So there was already a data breach in 2018 on Booking.com, and they already got fined once because they failed to notify it. So next to the fact that they are responsible to have proper security, they, according to GDPR, they also need to prove that they have taken the right measures to ensure this. I mean, given that this is happening again, it's clearly for us that they have not taken the most appropriate measures. And it is more of a systemic and an unaddressed security flaw than a one-time thing. And basically, based on these provisions of GDPR, we are calling out the responsibility of Booking on this.
Yeah, like this all sounds like really cool and like really protective. Like at the end of the day, if you do fall for a scam, I mean, you know that Booking.com makes these jokes now. So like, why does Booking have to bother? Like, isn't the claimant's fault?
Yeah, it's something you hear a lot, and actually that doesn't fly at all anymore. I mean, scams have become so sophisticated, also thanks to the technology. They have become too good to be true and too good to be recognized by basically every consumer, whether you're educated or not. Everyone can fall for a scam like this, because scams have evolved so much over the last 10 years. You used to be able to spot, in a phishing mail, some spelling mistakes. Well, nowadays, ChatGPT makes sure that there aren't no spelling mistakes in phishing emails anymore. And, thanks to technology, scammers can meticulously duplicate websites, for example, the one of booking.com or a bank website. And, you can imagine with AI coming in how much more sophisticated this has become and will become even more. But even more, the way scams are crafted right now, it comes with a whole lot of social engineering. It used to be just like you get an email, you click on a button and that's it. No, nowadays they have this meticulously social engineering, meaning they rely on extensive behavioral insights that they get from all kinds of data points to actually manipulate you in making the transition. And this is what happened here. They got the data points from the booking.com platform. They got, they got personalized, personal things, address, emails, date of birth. They knew everything about you. They knew everything to push your buttons and to manipulate you in actually making that kind of transaction. And social engineering can only happen if they have the data points, and they got the data points from Booking here.
And what can the DPA, so the Data Protection Authority, do about it?
Well, we started with filing a complaint with the Dutch Data Protection Authority, basically to issue a warning and a reprimand to Booking. Look, guys, you did something wrong here. You did not fulfill the obligations of GDPR to have proper security measures in place and secure the data of your customers, but also impose corrective measures, because in the end of the day, we really want this to stop. I mean, there's so many people, millions of people using booking.com. It needs to be a safe place for its users. So we really want booking.com to fix it. But also, I mean, asking with a clear decision of the Data Protection Authority in hand, we can also call for compensation, because this guy lost money, not only because he got scammed, but all the things that he needed to do around this. I mean, needless to say, he did not enjoy his holiday at all. There was a lot of emotional stress coming with it. So yeah, basically, with the decision of the authority in hand, we can also call for compensation here.
And at this point, what do you hope to achieve?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not a one-time thing. This experience was not an isolated case. Just by asking in the office, immediately there were like a couple of hands raised. Oh yeah, it happened to me as well 2 years ago. So it's not new and it's not isolated, which shows that it is systemic, and it's something that needs to be addressed. So first of all, we want to make the booking.com website a safe place. Like I said, so many people use it. It's very useful. It's very handy. It needs to be a safe place. You need to be sure that when you make a booking that you're also properly protected. Of course, we also want to facilitate compensation for victims, but even more, I mean, it's also sending a bigger message here. Like I said, scams are everywhere. And with, we're all going online, we're all going digital. So needless to say that a lot of these scams happen on online platforms. And we think that there should be more responsibility from the platforms here to make sure that you're safe. We tend to look always to the consumer, to the customer, saying, you should have known better, you should have recognized this. But like I said, I mean, scams have become so sophisticated, it's impossible for any consumer to detect it. So instead of putting all of the burden on the shoulders of consumers, we need to push more of the burden on on the other stakeholders, be it the banks, but also the platforms, because many of these scams start on online platforms. So it's up to them to keep us safe from them. It's not up to us only. It's not only up to us to keep us safe from scams, because we can still do things, but more and more, given the technology, we will need to rely on the other stakeholders to keep us consumers safe from scams. And that means that there should be a responsibility for the platforms to make sure that it is a safe place for consumers to go. So this is the bigger picture here that we also want to achieve with this action.
So now that the scam has happened, if I am a victim of a scam, do I also get paid back if you win the case?
Well, not automatically, but so yeah, if we have the decision of the authority, we can also claim, of course, the compensation back for this person. But basically what all of our Euroconsumers organizations are doing right now in Italy, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, they have opened registrations forms. So you can go there and you can, if you have had a similar experience, please let us know. It will help us build a bigger case that we can also bring to booking, and where we can also ask compensation for them. But in the meantime, if you got scammed, it is super important that you also report it to the police, that you report it to the banks, and that you report it also to booking directly. And if you don't know how to do it or where to go, again, our organizations in Belgium, Italy, Spain, and Portugal are here for all of the scam victims, and we will help you all along the way.
So anyone that got scammed, please contact Euroconsumers, search them up online, on LinkedIn, they're everywhere. They're gonna go on Instagram, they're everywhere. Please contact them, because you'll receive my email very, very soon. I'm just gonna say that. Okay, well, that was all for this interview, for this really interesting breaking news. Booking.com should start booking its own room, perhaps in the Netherlands, to argue out this big mess that they've done. And yes, thank you so much, Els Bruggeman, for joining us today. This was a real pleasure to meet you, and we hope you'll see us and come to us very, very soon in the future.
With pleasure, and likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Giacomo, for joining me today.
Thank you, Rosie.
This was all from Legal for Tech, the podcast.